Topecon, hello, and how are you guys? It is episode 95 of the No Spots podcast. We are here with you once again. It's Saturday, and you know what that means. Podcast time, baby. These people chef here with you. Of course, I am joined here by the one and the only, the Sith Lord himself. Sith, how are you doing, sir?
Hey, what's up? How's everyone doing? Happy Saturday. Happy weekend, everyone. Hey, champ,
Sir,
something weird. Something weird, my good friend. You know Hard to Kill's tonight, right?
on the day that we are recording this, yes.
Yes, sir. You know, there's something about Sammy and Eddie, Sammy Callahan, Eddie Edwards, that reminds me a lot of Bruiser Brody and Abdullah the Butcher, because they just take things up to a new level of violence every time they show up together. It's wild.
Yeah, no, you are absolutely correct. That rivalry seems to be will definitely go down in the annals of wrestling history as one of the most brutal and vicious long-term rivalries in wrestling. We'll give a quick preview for Impact Hard to Kill in this part of this podcast as we say hello also to Dujanet, who is checking us out right now. And he also had a question: is this streaming on Twitter? No, not yet, Dujanet. What we'll be streaming on Twitch Tuesday is just our live watch along reactions. The podcast will stay on Facebook Live and on YouTube, but Twitch will be our exclusive home for streaming our live reactions video. Just as a reminder, starting on January 31st for the Royal Rumble is where we will be exclusively on Twitch doing our live reactions. So make sure if you haven't done so already, make sure you go on there to our Twitch channel. That's twitch.tv/true no spots pod. Sorry, just sitting here fiddling with shit here, and that's what we do. This is why it's live and everything like that. But anyway, we got a lot to talk about. We got a lot to cover. Again, in about 8 or so minutes, our New Japan contributor Sage will join us, and me and him will have a conversation about things going on in New Japan, notably the upcoming New Begin tour that's getting ready to start, I believe, on Sunday, actually. But we're going to actually focus more on the 4 marquee dates that are taking place on this tour that will have big matches, big championship matches, big singles matches, and things of that nature. And then I have a question for him that I would like for him to answer. So, yeah, because we talked about it in our group chat, and so I wanted to bring him on here to talk about that as well. So we'll get to that. But let's go to some news and notes here. And again, people watching, Dujanet, sound good. Well, I'm happy to be here listening. I have you Twitch locked in. Appreciate you, brother, as always. All right, so in the news this week, first things first, unfortunately, we got to cover this. Michelle McCool, wife of the legend known as The Undertaker, has tested positive for COVID-19. She took to her Instagram on Friday night to say that she did contract the virus some kind of way and tested positive. Luckily, no one else in the household has contracted the virus, not The Undertaker, not her 8-year-old daughter. And she's also said she's blessed because symptoms are mild, and so she thought it was just her allergies. Instead, but again, her symptoms are mild. She looks like she'll be able to get inside of this. So we say her for Michelle McCool because again, this fucking virus, I'll talk about the virus more in my final thoughts. I'm just going to put that in right now. We'll talk about my final thoughts. But anyway, again, prayers and love to Michelle McCool as she gets to the other side of this coronavirus and shit like that. All right, next news story is a former WWE performer will be making his debut in another promotion coming up this week. Who was that former WWE performer, you ask? None other than Sean Daivari. Daivari, who we last saw in Impact participate in the Super just last week. Even though he lost, he just participated in that cup last week. He his Major League Wrestling AEW debut this coming Wednesday for their Week Fusion show. actual day past Wednesday, as he was revealed as the newest member of Contra, which is a very heelish group that's part of that promotion. He will be making his in-ring debut in the middleweight division on next week's show. So there you go, Daivari. 1 week he's in Impact Wrestling in the Super X Up, and now he's going to for major leagues, and we'll see how far he goes with that. Congratulations to Daivari. He will play, especially this climate with COVID and things being shut down and everything like that. Right? Okay. Next, once again, we got for Dark, another 14-match card coming up for Dark, coming up this Tuesday at 7 p.m. on their YouTube channel. And it's got good matches, got interesting matchups to talk about here. Big Swole going up against Asia. Yeah, Sam Bar, the Spanish guy, against El Estrellano, who I believe made his debut last week, so this will be a second match in. Lee Johnson and Aaron So going up against Hardy, so that should be interesting. Top action against Casey Navarro and AJ Kirsch. This thing's bouncing all around. Lucha Bros with Pac, who will be in the Death Triangle against Chaos Project. Let's hope this is not a main event like it was last. Well, no, I actually wouldn't be mad about it. Lucha Brothers. I'm just saying. Diamante will be in action against Tesha Price and Catalina Perez. Sean Dean and Fuego del Sol go up against the Acclaim. This will be the first appearance in a couple of weeks, so see them back. Against Marty Daniels. Brink Cutler's win streak might be in jeopardy. He's going 1-1 with Luchasaurus. John Cruz, Danny Limelight going up against Proud Santana and Ortiz. Scorpio Scott's back in action for the first time in a while. He'll be going up against Nick Corrado. Kiss is back as well. He recently put out a tweet dispelling rumors that he was injured, saying he wasn't injured or anything like that. He is fine, and he's back coming third Tuesday night, going up against Nick Camarado. Not Nick Camarado, Zach Clayton. The Butcher and the Blade will be action against Mike Verna and Baron Black. The Gun Club and Trios actually against Ryzen Adams and Very Morales. So those are your 14 matches coming Tuesday for Dark. Make sure you tune in 2 p.m. on their YouTube channel. I do every time live. It's a Tuesday night ritual, and it never changes. Right? Okay, let's move on. We talked about Michelle McCool recently was on a podcast earlier this week, and he revealed that he himself also had with COVID-19 back in December. But the demo guy said that when he dealt with it, he isolated for 10 days and 0 symptoms. He was asymptomatic. Said he didn't have any headaches, no fever, no nothing. He was just asymptomatic. He did quarantine. Matter of fact, when he got tested, he did test results randomly and positive, and he never had symptoms. So, and that comes off of the story that came out before that of Nick Jackson saying that he dealt with COVID as well, but he had a different situation where it actually put him bitten for a few weeks, and said it took him a couple months to cardio back because of the effects that this disease had on his respiratory system. So it seems like that during the time when there was reports of an outbreak with AEW, it looks like this has been confirmed with the fact that both Nick Jackson and Chris Jericho both caught the disease, but they had different reactions to said disease. So glad to see that they both were able to get out of the other sis. Again, with this disease, please wear your masks, distance, wash your hands, and stay the fuck out of people's faces that are not in your fucking household. Period. Anyway, I'm gonna save it for later. And finally, in the news, it was a shocking announcement made Friday from Impact Wrestling. It was on their website that Alex Shelley was pulled out of the main event tag match between the Motor City Machine Guns and Rich Swann versus Kenny Omega Good Brothers. And at first, it was reported that it was due to he couldn't travel due to unavoidable situations. Well, on Saturday, Shelley actually posted a video explaining he wasn't going to be there and confirming that it wasn't COVID related. Actually, he said, "quote: There are certain things in life that are just out of our control, and unfortunately, my ability to compete hard to kill has been dropped in that bucket. No apology to Chris Sage. I owe an apology to Rich Swann. I owe an apology to the fans, and I owe a receipt to Good Brothers at Ken Omega. I don't like getting beat up by you, but I accepted that that's multiple times, and I was looking to returning the favor. You'll get that in the mail. You keep yellow copy, and he will go on to speak on it as well. But yeah, so Chris Sabin and Rich Swann went to battle. We'll have Moose as part of the show, as part of the team instead of Alex Shelley. So hopefully, this situation clears up and Shelley's back with the tapings and everything like that. So yeah, those are your news stories. That caught me by surprise when I saw that. I was like, wait, what happened here? Oh yeah, there we go. Now it's time to move on to New Japan now. Before we bring contributor, he is ready to go. I do want to quickly run on what happened on Strong last night. So on Strong, he had 3 matches. It's the Road to Lions contender. Mysterioso was victorious over Barrett Brown. He was victorious over Adrian Quest. And the trio of Bullet Club, Hikuleo, El Phantasmo, and Kenta were victorious over the team Christian Fred Ross ACH. So there you go. That's your look back at Strong. But we're not looking back to that. We are looking ahead to what's going to be a very, very, very interesting story coming up for Japan Pro Wrestling. And to talk about that, we bring in our New Japan contributor. Here's that guy who woke up as this guy in stage. What is up, brother?
What is up, gentlemen? Sif and Champ, how are y'all doing today?
Very well, sir. Very well. How are you, sir?
I'm pretty good. I'm ready. I'm ready for the sexiest match we've ever seen in our lives. Pause. But sexiest match we've ever seen in our lives.
Relax. All right, but hey, let's talk about it then. Let's talk about it. Okay, so what I did, Sage, was that I wanted to point out to 4 dates, 4 cards that have big implications in terms of big match feels. I want to start with the 23rd. You have Tenzan's first match access, that injury he suffered at New Year's Dash. He's tagging with Koji. 10 Koji is in the house, going up against the United Empire of Great Khan and Will Ospreay. And then you have in the main event for the junior heavyweight tag titles, Suzuki Guns, Kanemaru, and Despy against Phantasmo and Ishimori. What are your thoughts on this? This will be the first big match, big time card in this tour.
So, due to the restrictions that they had to put in place again in Japan, which I'm glad they spread these dates out a little more. It's pretty imperative, as you were saying. Wear y'all masks, though. Like, for real, it's pretty imperative because New Japan is trying to produce these big cards, but they can't produce them because numbers are on the rise again. So for them to produce them every once in a while, I'm loving that because they're trying to give us the old New Japan again. The Tenzan match is going to be interesting because he also has a singles match coming up after that, if I'm not mistaken. And the singles match is him against the Great Khan trying to get that revenge. So that match, the tag match, leading into him getting his singles match, he's trying to get the revenge. He's trying to get back what was almost taken from him. And Great Khan don't care.
Right.
Great Khan has stepped up in these big spots. Like we talked about it with the Wrestle Kingdom wrap up. We talked about it. We said Great Khan may not have won, but the presence of Great Khan is there. So it's kind of he's stepping up there. So this is another technically legend that you would have to put him up against to see if he can stand up with them. You know how much I love Kanemaru and Despy. So
Yeah.
and you know I love the Bullet Club. But this
Right.
gonna be one heel ass match.
Big fact.
I don't know
Big
who's gonna
facts.
out cheat who. The pillar of this tag team junior division actually is, with Sho and Yo being out of the tag division right now, Kanemaru and Despy have retaken the throne and stepped back up where they were when they first took it over. So it's like they gave this little spotlight to Sho and Yo and let them do their thing, but then when it came back down to it, it's back to the kings of the junior tag division. That the heel tactics of
Right.
Desperado and Kanemaru and I miss the whiskey being shot at, but you know, COVID fucked a lot of things up for us.
Yeah.
With I do believe that I would not be surprised if Ishimori and Phantasma walk out as champions because they gel well together. They play off of each other and they bring the best out of each other. But Kanemaru and Desperado are the gods of this division. Like, what are you going? Are their arms long? Are their arms long enough to box with God? That's what this match about to be.
Right. Okay.
It's really about to be that.
Yeah. Let's speed through the other four that I had penciled in to talk about, and then I wanted to get to the question I wanted to ask you and stuff like that. So you mentioned the singles match with Tenzan Great Khan really taking place a week after his return tag match in Corkin Hall on the 30th of January. He'll against Great Khan. Kojima will go up against Ospreay, and then the main event, it's Shingo versus Tana for the Never title.
That's that. Forget that Empire stuff. It is what it is. Whatever. Shingo versus Tana. I've been waiting for this day. I thought it was going to be different. Like, I thought it was going to be maybe Tanahashi wins the New Japan title back, or maybe it's the Intercontinental title. But Shingo in his element of the Never division and Tanahashi, the ace of the universe, that's going to be a match. That's going to be a really good one. But you know what? I got Shingo winning that match. I don't care what you say, champ. I got Shingo winning that match.
Hey, listen, I'm right there with you. I love Tana. I don't see Tana being Never champ. It's gotta be Shingo.
Yo, it gotta be. It gotta be Shingo. Shingo's put his heart into that.
Yeah. And then as we move through the road in him the 10th and the 11th, that's where again we got some big matches there. Most notably for the heavyweight tag title, GOD against the Techers, and then for the junior heavyweight championship, Hiromu versus Sho.
I'm up in the air with Sho and Hiromu. I'm up in the air with it. I'm not the coin has not finished flipping in my mind of who I really want to win this match. I want Sho to win this match because I think Sho deserves it. He really does. He stepped up so much being by himself. I want, of course, Hiromu to keep the title. So this is gonna be that I feel like it's gonna be like how Hiromu and Dragon Lee is. You know, you don't care who wins the title. You just want this good ass match on in front of you. So I think that's what's gonna happen with this. I think that's how I'm gonna just keep playing this one out. Now, my Techers are on revenge, and Lord Tachi ain't got them gloves back yet, so he's pissed. And God
That don't mean they win the titles back though.
That God don't never keep the title too long anyway. Why you think they 7 times? So guess what? Them Tekka's running that shit back. You watch SmackDown. Tekka's running it back. Tekka's running it back.
Oh my god.
But let's talk about the 11th.
Such a Tekka's mark.
Let's
My goodness, but yes, the 11th. The 11th, what everybody, the match everybody's looking forward to because they've seen it already. It's going to be, especially with the higher stakes. Talking about Sonata challenging Ibushi for the double championships.
The rematch of the G1 finals. This is the rematch. Yes, Ibushi has basically become God. Sonata is the one that can dethrone God. I don't know if he's gonna get the job done, but this match is going to be so closely paid attention to, and it's gonna have big implications because this is March 10th and 11th that we're talking about, but this match has implications for March because the New Japan Cup is in March. And guess what?
Yep. I was getting ready.
I would love it to be that Ibushi has to go through the New Japan Cup to get the rematch. I would love it. Ibushi will have to go through the New Japan Cup and win the New Japan Cup to get the rematch at the Dominion to get that title back if Sonata takes it. I need Sonata to take it. I need a 3-peat of this match. I need it. I need this. I need the 3-peat. If they're able to give us Kenny and Okada 3 times, you can give us Ibushi and Sonata 3 times.
Okay.
And I take nothing away from the classics and the 6-star matches that Okada and Kenny put on. I take nothing away from that. But you also have athletes there that can take that spot, and Sonata is one of them. I've been on the Sonata bandwagon for a long time, even when he was in TNA. Sonata is the truth, and now this Sonata, I need the Sonata to be the Sonata that won at Wrestle Kingdom with his own way. He was determined to win his way. I need him to be that Sonata to beat Ibushi because you know what he's gonna do. You know he's gonna do his famous moves. He doesn't switch anything up. The only time you seen Ibushi switch it up was the G1, and he wrestled everybody else's match. He put himself at a disadvantage and wrestled everybody else's match, which we covered, and we still can't. I don't even remember the number of kicks that him and Tai Chi gave each other in the new in the G1, but it was a whole kicking match.
Pretty much. But yeah, that's coming up. The start of the road to New beginning starting on the 17th. But one last thing, Sage, before we let you go, we gotta get through with the rest of the show. So we were talking in our group chat, and during the Bushi's press conference, he said something about unifying the heavyweight and IC titles, and you're against it. Why?
I don't like the idea of taking away a belt that you've made so prestigious that at Wrestle Kingdom you can flip-flop either title to be the main event. Also, on the backhand of it, it's something else as an accolade for your roster to strive for. You have too many people on your roster to just do the WWE. Because if that's the case, they might as well came to the WWE. New Japan has always been the outside standard of if I beat that champion, I get that I get the shot at that title. Why would you take that away from the athletes that look at that type of thing, like Chris Jericho? You got Chris Jericho, who's been an Intercontinental Champion in WWE, and he's one of the few, if not him and Shinsuke are the only two that I know that have been Intercontinental Champion in WWE and has also been Intercontinental Champion in New Japan Pro Wrestling. That is an accolade that is like, there's only two niggas there. There's only two people there. Why would you take that away? Why would you take away the ability to stride your roster to, okay, well, they may not put me in the world title picture right now, but they can put me in the Intercontinental picture right now. And that belt is just as prestigious as their world title. Don't shortcome your wrestlers, because then they're gonna leave. Then look at the WWE. Everybody running the AEW. Everybody's running to you, New Japan, because of the shit that WWE is going through. The shit of Jay White said it. And I really hope that Jay White is really staying with New Japan, or at least going to AEW. Because, or maybe go back to Ring of Honor. But I don't want him to go to the WWE at all. Even NXT, I don't want him to go there, because he said it to Jericho. Going to the WWE, I keep in contact with a lot of those guys there. I don't want to be like a lot of them, where I'm thrown by the wayside. I got all this talent, and you're not putting me anywhere. You're not utilizing me. So what am I still here for? Just like I'm hearing reports that Ricochet may be leaving. Ricochet leaves, I'm going to be the happiest person in the motherfucking world. Because they didn't, ever since he left NXT, and let's look at Ricochet's timeline. He murdered the indies. He really became on the map in Best of the Super Juniors against Will Ospreay. And then he comes to the WWE, goes to NXT. Cool. NXT was fine. You bring him up to the main roster, and you're doing this dumb shit with him at this point. He got his one spotlight, and that was Brock Lesnar. And of course, he's a smaller guy, so Brock Lesnar has to murder him like an animal. And you ain't done shit with him since. My bad. You did. You made him eliminate Brock Lesnar from last year's Royal Rumble. But this was assisted the elimination. And this was a guy that in New Japan, they was looking at him. He won Best of the Super Juniors. Like, it's not like he ain't done it. He's won Best of the Super Juniors. You got Kushida there that I guess Kushida's just, I'm here to help type of situation. And if that's the case with Kushida, he deserves that. He deserves that choice, because Kushida has driven through New Japan and he's taken that junior heavyweight division and put it on his back. At this point, you're taking away a title that will really eliminate half your roster. You got the Never title.
That was the most all around the world way to go back to that point.
I mean, at the end of the day, you gotta look at it. Like, you gotta look at everything that everybody else is doing. Everybody else is fucking up the game. Let's be real. Even AEW, you're fucking up the game. There was no reason to put that title on Kenny Omega. Let's be real.
Yeah. Well, it is what it is. But Sage, good.
I mean, like you said, it is what it is. But I just need New Japan to not do what they strive off of the thing of, we don't do what American wrestling does. Keep doing that. If it ain't broke, Don't fix it. Like, it's crazy, man.
Bottom
It's
line.
crazy.
All right, Sage. Well, Sage,
I got-
we appreciate you being
Wait,
on to
I got
give
one
us some
question
talk
for
about.
you.
Yeah, man.
I got one question
What's
for you
that?
before I go, and we gonna ask right here. So we covering the New Japan Cup?
You got to cover the New Japan Cup. Fuck you.
Oh, all right. That's all I care about. That's all I care about. That's all I care
We
about.
cover New Japan Cup.
We covered New Japan
Yeah.
Cup. All right.
Yep. New Japan
I'm
Cup.
with it.
Folks, New Japan
Hey.
Cup begins on March the 5th, the day after the 49th anniversary show, which is 49th anniversary show taking place in Nippon Budokan on March the 4th. That's Thursday. Then they open the tournament in Korakuen on the 5th, and they go from the 5th into the finals, which will be on the 21st, taking place in Sendai. And yes, we will be covering.
Yes. Hey, we doing brackets? We doing brackets when they come out?
We might have to do that. We might have to. Yo, we might have to do that.
We're going to have to do brackets.
We doing brackets.
We're doing brackets.
All right. Well, Sage,
we'll
wrap on that. All right. We'll
show.
wrap to that in the group chat, bro.
Thing, and I'll holler at y'all next time. Be safe.
Peace
wear
out,
your
bro.
mask.
Yes.
All right, Sif.
Yes, sir.
Take it easy, man.
That's the guy, Sage, and you heard it here right here first. Yes, we will be covering the for podcast later in the in March. It'll be from March 5th to 21st. And you can expect the podcast to go up every Monday for the duration of the tournament. And again, unlike previous tournaments where it was a points robin system, it is no home. It's one single elimination. So cannot wait for that. That's gonna be so much fun. I actually got to watch my first New Japan. It was brought this past summer when they relaunched New Japan after the long layoff due to the state of emergency in the country again. So it was pretty cool. So I can't wait. So really, because I didn't say run, but it is what it is. Coming up Saturday night for those listening on the AO tonight, is watching live right now. They have 9 matches on the card. 1 pre-show, 8 on the main card. Brian versus Josh Alexander in a singles match. I'm picking Josh Alexander. Knockouts tag title match. The finals of the tournament against Hope, Tierra Hope, Tasha Steeles. I'm picking Havoc and Nevaeh. For the X Division Championship, you have Manik, Chris Bay, and Rohit Raju in a triple threat match. I'm picking Chris Bay. The Karate Man versus I ain't really want to pick nothing in this one. It's a ridiculous match. But I'm picking the Karate Man. I don't know why, but I'm picking Karate Man. Rosemary and Crazy Steve against Tennille Dashwood and Caleb Decay. And I'm picking Decay. The Decay reunion is going to pay off, and they're going to win. There you go. Barbed Wire Massacre match. Eddie Edwards and Sami Callihan. I am picking Eddie in this one. I feel like this is going to be that signature win for Eddie in this rivalry. So, Eric Diener, Joe Doring, in a 6-man old school rules match going up against Cousin Jake, Rhino, and Tommy Dreamer. I am picking Y and company for this one. They have just been too dominant. This would be a bad place for them to take a loss because it could kind of hurt their mind of. I think that they need to keep that momentum going. I think they can win this one. So I'm going with Eric and company. Knockouts title match, Deonna Purrazzo versus the longest reigning Knockouts champion in history of Taya Valkyrie. I got Deonna Purrazzo retaining. She has been absolute gold with the championship. Let it run it. Taya don't need that belt. She already in the record books as having the longest reign ever. She needs the title. Purrazzo all the way. Rich Swann, Chris Sabin, Moose against Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers. It's got to be Kenny and Good Brothers. Like, there's no way to put it. You're not gonna have him take a loss, Kenny Omega, man. After he's won the AEW championship, it really has lost. So yeah, it's definitely be Kenny and Brothers. So there you go. Those are my picks. They'll be up on our Facebook page prior to the show starting, so you'll have them up there as well. You'll see picks as well. Maybe Donnie's. I'm not sure. We'll see. But I'm excited about this topic because this is a topic that Sif actually came up with. I challenged Sif to come up with the topic for after our, little before our weekend review, and he came up with a good one. Sif, explain to the people your motivation for this one.
All right. I get a lot of questions from people, who don't like wrestling or people that do like wrestling. And those of us who like wrestling, we get asked a lot. What would be the top 5 matches that you would suggest that non-wrestling fans watch to get them into pro wrestling? So I was thinking about that. And then on Sunday night or Monday morning, I went into our chat, our little Facebook chat. I was like, Champ, got an idea. Top 5 matches to get people into pro wrestling. And I believe Donnie gave us 5 matches as well.
He did.
He's got 5.
I'm looking for them right now.
Cool.
I'm looking for them
While
right
he's
now.
doing that, I'm going to kind of run this down. So he's like, dude, awesome idea. So, I sat down on my computer, figured out my top 5, and we all had our top 5 basically, I'd say by Tuesday or so. Now, a little bit of a spoiler. I have forgotten Donnie's list. So
don't worry, I got it right here. I'm looking at it right now.
So, and Champ doesn't know what's on my list. Neither does Donnie. And Donnie and I don't know what's on Champ's list. So you're going to see possibly different matches that run the spectrum here, but it's going to be a really intriguing countdown. And I hope you all enjoy it.
Yeah, appreciate that from Sif for that one. So we're gonna do it the same way we did last week. We're gonna go in order 5 to 1, and alternate in order. I'll start with my number 5, and then Sif to give his number 5 and explain until we get to number 1. At the end, I will tell you what these top 5 were and things of that nature as well at the end. So let's start off with number 5 for me. The number 5 all-time match that I could give to a non-wrestling fan that I'm into wrestling is Trish Stratus versus Lita for the WWE Women's Championship on the episode of Raw that took place on December the 6th, 2004. Here's why. Number 1, this is only the second time in the history of Monday Night Raw that the women were the main event of that show. The first time it happened was Lita against Stephanie McMahon Helmsley on an episode of Raw back in 2000 before SummerSlam. And that was when Lita won the title. She would win the title on this occasion as well. But this match is also more memorable because of not only the rivalry between Trish and Lita, but the crazy dive that Lita did where it looked like she almost broke her fucking neck. But in the end, she was able to withstand all of that to get the Lita assault and win the match. But I picked that as my number 5 because that's one of the more iconic women's matches, and there's not many of them out there. But this is one of those iconic women's matches because the stage that they were on, number 1, the fact that they made main event in Raw when Raw was still pretty hot at that time, and they were the main event. They were the last match for that night, and it was a title match, and they absolutely just killed it. So my number 5, Trish versus the Women's Championship, Raw December 6, 2004. Who is your number 5?
Okay, we're going back to the year 2000. SummerSlam. The Hardy Boys versus Edge and Christian versus the Dudley Boys in a tables, ladders, and chairs match. Now, let me set the picture here for you guys. You have a team that was a legacy in ECW with Bubba Ray and Devon. 2 guys who went through a few gimmicks and found their stride post mid-card in Edge and Christian. And 2 brothers from North Carolina who started to come out of their own as Team Extreme. Put all 3 of these teams into a blender for a TLC match, and what you get is 18 minutes and 38 seconds of just mind-blowing amazement. Okay, yeah, there are injuries in this match, absolutely. But the match was amazing. And it's one of the more memorable matches from a SummerSlam that has some memories, but this is one that just sticks up there. And I still go back to it. And it's one that I passed on to a friend of mine who's not a wrestling fan. And they said, no, I could get used to watching this from time to time, just based on all the combination of technical, along with the use of the outside weapons, as well as all the flips and everything. So, number 5, Triple Threat TLC, Hardy Boys, Edge and Christian, Dudley Boys.
All right. So my number 4 takes us back to an iconic moment in history in the Monday Night Wars. I'm talking about January 4th, 1999. The Rock, Mankind for the WWF Championship. This will always be because of the iconic moment where Austin came out and the huge pop he got when he came out, and then the even bigger pop when Mankind was, oh shit, I just got goosebumps just thinking about that pop. Fucking hell. But the pop that he gets when he gets the 3 count and is named the WWF champion, he wins the championship. But that was also a big iconic moment because Eric Bischoff thought it would be a great idea to have Tony Schiavone spoil it for the people watching Nitro Live by telling Tony to tell the people that on the other side of the dial, Mick Foley, Mankind, you want to call him, it just became their world champion. That'll put butts in the seats, and you know what it did? It caused hundreds of thousands of people turn the channel to watch it. And at that point, WCW started losing in the Monday Night Wars because of that critical mistake of wanting to spoil, because at that time, Raw was pre-taped, yes. They would do a live one, and then the next night they would do a tape one and things like that. So it was pre-taped. So yeah, they knew what was going to happen, but they still spoiled it, and it caused people to go and watch it, in which people, luckily they did, because on that very same night on Nitro, we had the finger poker dude. So this is my number 4 match I would introduce to a wrestling fan is Rock versus Mankind for the WWF Championship on Raw, January 4th, 1999. Sith?
And ironically, I was one of the people that when that was announced, I went to USA. I went to Raw. Total transparency. I was one of the people that flipped over, went to watch Monday Night Raw. Then I found out the next morning about the finger poke of doom. And I'm like, trash. Anyway, my number 4. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat versus Randy the Macho Man Savage, WrestleMania 3. Okay. In a company where entertainment is valued over wrestling, and you get an argument from a lot of people inside of wrestling about that, these two cats put on a superb match that is still in discussion all these years later. Yep, in this match, I'm going to get people pissed off here. It's what I do. This match is better than Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant. Because the only thing,
but I got you.
The only reason why I say that is because the only reason why people talk about Hulk versus Andre is Hogan body slamming Andre, which is iconic. Don't get me wrong. But in this match, it's technical greatness from start to finish. And just 2 of the more underrated talents just getting in the ring, putting on a superb match. That's my number 4.
All right. Number 3 for me. And this one is, I remember watching this live as a kid. And I remember rewatching it as I got older. It was one of the really classic light heavyweight matches I've ever seen in wrestling. It was Jushin Thunder Liger versus Flying Brian Pillman at WCW Super Bowl II in 1992. Yeah, I'm going on the Wayback Machine here. Again, this was one of the most technically sound and just clean junior heavyweight, light heavyweight, whatever you want to call it, matches that you could ever watch. And it was for the light heavyweight championship, by the way. I think that, and Brian Pillman was the champion at the time. That was the same card where Sting actually beat Luger for the world title at that night as well. But that match there is one I would introduce somebody to say, this is what non-heavyweight wrestling should look like, and this is what it can look like if you just pay attention to it. It was just great, and this is Jushin Thunder Liger still in his prime, still on the go, and you know he was getting ready to really run the junior heavyweight scene in Japan and create like the J Cup and all this stuff. But right here, he was in WCW and just absolutely killing it with Brian Pillman. Rest in peace, Brian Pillman. That was one of the matches that really got me into WCW. Was that match right there? So there you go. My number 3 is Jushin Thunder Liger versus the late Brian Pillman for the WCW Light Heavyweight Championship at Super Bowl II in 1992.
My number 3 goes back even a little bit further. Starrcade 85. Magnum TA versus Tully Blanchard in an I Quit match. All right, let me set the stage here, folks. This was a deeply personal rivalry that hit a major crescendo here in a very epic way. Okay? Now, you can go back to WWE Network and we love this match as you have things that you don't get on WWE TV today. You could possibly get the brutality of this match in AEW or Impact, but WWE, no, not because of advertising dollars. If you thought that Roman versus Jay doing I Quit was solid, and it was a solid match, but haven't seen this match, go for it. You'll thank me later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is a legendary and iconic match. I haven't watched it because 85 I was 3. Fuck. But I'm definitely gonna go try to watch that one and stuff like that. But now we get into the nitty gritty here. My top 2. My number 2, funny because sixth number, I believe is your number 5. I think you said number 5 was what, TLC 1?
Yeah, TLC 1.
Well, my number 2 just happens to be from WrestleMania 17, TLC 2. And I mean, yeah, the first one was absolutely just mind blowing. But the second one was so iconic. So iconic. Because you have so many iconic spots, especially the spot that's always replayed anytime you replay WrestleMania, and that's Edge off of that tall ladder, spearing Hardy all the way to the mat. That is going to be replayed forever and ever and ever in a day. The demolition of this match, and on the stage that it was on, this is one I would introduce to somebody to say, this is what a chaotic clusterfuck match should look like. But it's the clusterfuck, but it still works and it still is good. So TLC 2 from WrestleMania 17 for the WWF Tag Championship, by the way, which I think a lot of people forget. There were championships on the line in that match that Edge and Christian ended up winning. And that's my number 2, TLC 2 from WrestleMania 17.
Yeah, I'll never forget an interview that's on the network where Steven Regal, who's now NXT commissioner, said, he was told about that spot. And he said, look, guys, you guys can go ahead and do it, but I wouldn't do that. Just too risky. But he admits that it was a well-done spot. My number 2, though, King of the Ring, 1998. Undertaker versus Mankind in Hell in a Cell.
Nice.
Love it. The irony is I went back and I watched it a couple of days ago on the network on the flat screen, dude. I mean, look, if you're looking for balls to the wall, where even the commentary is just speechless, okay, and there's no holding back, here you go. Okay, mind you, the last several years of Hell in a Cell, you can watch those absolutely. But this is where the standard was set for this match. Okay. I don't think we've had a lot of wrestlers go through the top of the cage, boom, down to the ring, down to the mat. I don't think so. But one thing that's become memorable, though, is going from the top of the cage down to the announcer's table. And the typical spot is if you are on the announcers, if you break the announcer's table, your body's broken on it, you don't win the match. Well, here you have two monsters, Undertaker, Mankind, Mick Foley, that had a history when Foley first came in under Cactus Jack. And again, he and Taker had a story there as well. All in all, it's my personal favorite Hell in a Cell and a match you ought to watch.
Yep. All right, here we go. The moment of truth. The number one match I would recommend to a new non-wrestling fan. And this should be a number one on a lot of people's lists. Matter of fact, it was number one on Donnie's list. I'll go over his list after this. But it has to be WrestleMania 13, 1997, the I Quit match. Steve Austin, Bret Hart. And here's why. Because in the history of wrestling, when have you ever had a match that the result resulted in a double turn? It's so rare to happen that you have a double turn. And this is one of the rarest times that it happened, where Stone Cold Steve Austin, who was a monster heel coming into this, and Bret Hart was a big baby face. And by the time this match ended and they walked out, Bret was fully booed, hated by the crowd, and Austin was absolutely loved. I don't even recall having happened ever since, having a double turn like that. So that's going to be the one at the top of the list that I would suggest for somebody to watch. Not only because of the action, because the match was good. The match was really good. The action was really good. I mean, that's goes without saying. But just the fact that you had the rarest of rare in wrestling, a double turn, a heel turning face and a face turning heel all in the same match, is one of the reasons why this will be my number one recommended match to a non-wrestling fan. Bret Hart, Stone Steve Austin, I Quit match, WrestleMania 13. Sith?
Champ, I got to stop you right there, homie, because you're going to love this. WrestleMania 26. Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels, streak versus career is my number one.
Ah, nice. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Talk about it.
Okay.
Talk about it.
Now, backstage, a lot of people don't know this. Okay, so I'm going to go behind the curtain here, if you will, beyond the ring, if you will. Shawn had made it known to several people backstage that, you know, he was really feeling that it was time to retire. Okay. So Michael Hayes, along with Taker, went to Shawn and said, "Want to go out on top?" And Shawn's like, "I get to face Undertaker again? This is going to be great." So you had this really, really excellent build-up in this match. And it was excellent leading up to it. And if you didn't know that Shawn was planning on retiring, you could think there was a possibility that Shawn could beat The Undertaker. Okay, that Shawn Michaels could do what people didn't think could happen, beat The Undertaker at WrestleMania. Just an amazing match. It's very emotional. And although the ending is climatic, you see the respect and love these guys pour out. All in all, it's my top match you should watch if you want to get into wrestling.
Yeah, that's a good one. And of course, Donnie did provide his list, and this was his list from 5 to 1. Number 5, Kurt Angle versus Chris Benoit. Any one of them, he said, they were technically amazing. Number 4, Tully Blanchard versus Matt Gauthier, I Quit match. Number 3, Shawn Michaels versus Ric Flair in the era from that WrestleMania where Undertaker won the title from Edge in the main event. Number 2, Big Van Vader versus Ron Simmons, where Ron Simmons became the first African-American world champion. WCW champion. He said this match opened the door for many great wrestlers like The Rock and Booker T. And his number one is the same number one I had, Austin versus Bret Hart. I quit match at WrestleMania. He said that in his opinion, the match that made both of their careers. So that's Donnie's list right there, and you heard our list. So if you have a top five favorite, just let us know. Let us know what your top five is. Go to our Facebook page, facebook.com/NoSpotsPod. Let us know what your top five you would give for in terms of introducing somebody to professional wrestling, right? And it'd be interesting to hear some of your choices. It may not even be all WWF like we just did. I mean, I personally wasn't purposely trying to make it an all WWE list, but those are just the five matches that stood out to me. Well, just WCW, but still, those are the five matches that stuck out to me in terms of fandom. Like, what would I think would bring somebody in as a fan. I think Donnie might have agreed with your pick at number one. I don't know who this is. Donnie would probably whoever. I don't know. I think that's Donnie.
Yeah, I think so.
Said pick at number one. That's probably Donnie. All right, so that's our take there. Pay attention to the Facebook page, and we'll tease our next week's topic. I'm thinking a couple ideas, but we'll figure it out, and then we'll bring it to you next week for episode 96. All right, let's move into our favorite show, that is the Week in Review. And again, our new format where we're going to take 5 bits from each show. I pick 5 bits and Sith pick 5 bits. He's going to tell me the 5 bits he picked, and I'm going to pick 2 that were good, 1 that was bad. I'm going to do the same for him. I'm going to give him the 5 bits I picked. He's going to pick 2 that were good, 1 that was bad. And we're going to go through that all the way through with the exception. That was Donnie, by the way, Sith.
Cool.
So he's commenting on he's commenting via the Facebook page.
You wild fam.
I love it. Anyway, so we're gonna go through all the shows with the exception of NXT report, which will come up right after we do our Wednesday night talk. We have the NXT UK report. We'll talk about that. So let's get to Monday Night Raw. Sid, you want to start with your 5 bits to me, and then I'll tell you which 2 were good and which one was bad?
All right. Your 5, my good friend. Triple H, Randy Orton.
Okay. The match or the promo?
The match.
Okay.
Jeff Hardy versus Jackson Riker.
Okay.
Lacey Evans versus Charlotte.
Okay.
Triple H's backstage promo.
Okay.
And Sheamus versus Keith Lee.
Okay, I already got the 2 good ones. Sheamus, Keith Lee, number 1, top good. They just absolutely beat the living piss out of each other. And it was funny how the match got set up. Like, they literally were a tag team, and then they were all cool. Then all of a sudden, they come to break, and they're ready to fight each other. I'm like, the fuck is going on here, dude? But anyway, I'm glad the match happened. It was absolutely amazing. And the backstage promo from Trips was that's vintage Triple H. Like, that dude can tap into emotions with the best of them. That's why he's the game. So those are the 2 good ones. Oh, fuck me. Trying to pick a bad one out of what you name. Because the Triple H Orton match, I'm casting that to the side. That's in the middle. But I'm having to pick between Lacey Charlotte and Jeff Hardy Jackson Riker is what's bad. And I'm like, fucking hell, that's a tough choice because they were both bad. But if I had to pick one, it's got to be Lacey Evans and Charlotte. What the fuck are they doing with Ric Flair and Lacey Evans? Like, why are they doing this? Like, do they think we've forgotten that Lacey Evans has a whole husband and a child at home? And now she's going to have an open affair on TV with Ric Flair, who we all know has a wife. He's put it out there. She had COVID last year, and this is what they're doing? What the fuck, dude? Like, they really must think we're stupid. They must think we're stupid. They gotta think we're stupid because there's no way in the world you can get away with this if we didn't already know Lacey has a whole husband and family at home and Ric Flair has a whole wife at home.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, dog. Come on. Yeah, no, that's a bad. That's super bad. Not Kip Sabian super bad, but that's just super bad. I'm sorry.
That's trash.
Listen, Jeff Hardy and Jackson Riker. I can't. It was bad, but it was just bad because it was effectively a squash.
Yeah.
But yeah, Lacey and Charlotte match was over. It was trash. It was so trash. I can't do it. Now, here are your 5 bits. Have fun with this one. The final segment of Raw. Alexa Bliss burns Randy Orton. Sheamus versus Keith Lee. Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose against Shayna and Nia. The opening promo with Triple H and Randy Orton. And the whole thing with Riddle and the Hurt Business, where Riddle got beat by Bobby Lashley in under 3 minutes for the U.S. title, and then MVP was fighting him in the street clothes. And then they jumped and they left. So those are 5. Alexa burns Randy, Sheamus versus Keith Lee, Rose and Brooke versus Shayna and Nia, the opening promo, Trips and Orton, and then Riddle and the Hurt Business.
Okay. The final segment, which was after Randy Orton Triple H, which was a good way to book into Raw that was bad. I mean, admit it, Raw was bad this week. But that fireball, I was like, whoa. You know, I was just spellbound because I was watching it on my DVR Tuesday morning, and I'm like, holy shit, did I see that? And then I wanted to go into chat, but I didn't want to spoil it because I didn't know a champ had seen it yet. But I didn't want to spoil it for him, right? And I'm like, God, you know. So that was definitely an up for me. The other big up for me, Sheamus versus Keith Lee. Because I saw something there. And champ, I want you to prove me wrong on this. Sheamus was putting Keith Lee over after that match.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's not only sportsmanship. Sheamus is a leader backstage in the locker room. So if you're going to get the acknowledgement of someone like Sheamus of putting on a really good match and he shows respect for you in that ring after a match, that speaks volumes when a locker room leader can do that. Oh, man, you've given me a lot to sort out for the worst, but the dead worst was Shayna, Nia, Mandy, Dana. Hit the trash button for me, please. Please.
I got you, good sir. There you go.
Try.
Oh, my God. Look, it's a waste of really good talent here. Not only between these 4 ladies, but the fact that Charlotte, again, is in a story with Lacey Evans. Okay, so the women's tag team titles are not in contention right now because that's a side story. So you put these 4 ladies together. Again, this is my problem with WWE where it comes to Monday Night Raw, women's wrestling, and women's tag team wrestling. It's not properly booked. Because it's not properly booked, you know, trash bullshit like this. Just embarrassing.
Yeah. Yeah, Raw is definitely like falling, and continues to be in a free fall. A part of that is the fact that a lot of their stuff is being written last minute. Of course, the other news that we didn't cover in the news and notes was that Drew McIntyre also contracted COVID-19 and has been put on a shelf for a couple of weeks to quarantine and to deal with that. And because of that, you know, this was the first time that you had to acknowledge one of the talents connected to COVID-19 because there was no other way you could explain your top champion, the face of your brand, not being on TV for 2 weeks or not being in the Thunderdome for 2 weeks in the build-up to a championship match against Goldberg. So there were reports that the scripts were written literally rewritten at the last minute. So that's the problem right there with Raw. they're doing too many rewrites and last minute rewrites and things of that nature. I think a lot of talent weren't used because of contract racing, that they weren't available to wrestle. So guys like Jeff Hardy, Sheamus, Keith Lee had to pull double duty, things of that nature. Brittle double duty because again, you don't have a lot of active bodies there to work, which is I find to be hard to believe, but that's just me. But anyway, it is what it is. We're all just going to continue to free fall, and then they're going to fall even more, and then next thing you know, the Legends are going to come back, and then they're going to get 2 million plus and think that's okay, and then so whatever. All right, let's talk about Impact, shall we? Impact, the go home show for Hard to Kill was this past Tuesday, and I had the 5 bits for you to sift through and see which two were good and which one was absolute trash. So here are the 5 bits. I got a feel I know which one you're gonna pick is trash. So we'll go with it. Let's see. Anyway, number one, the fact that Rosemary and Crazy Steve are reuniting. Decay is reuniting, and they're gonna reunite come Hard to Kill. So that's number one. DK reunite. Number two, Moose squashing the ever-loving crowd of Matthew Palmer. Number three, Asian Karen, a.k.a. Susan, costing Tyre her match with Kimberly. The main event and post-match brawl between all the participants in this Saturday's pay-per-view, which now is missing one of them. And Eric Young and his crew standing tall over their opponents ahead of their 6-man old school rules match. Those are your 5. Susan cost Tyre her match. Decay reuniting. Moose squashing Matthew Palmer. The main event of Rich Swann versus Carl Anderson in the post-match brawl. And then Eric Young and crew standing tall over their opponents.
Good thing number one, the reuniting of Decay, Team Decay. That's going to be awesome shit right there. Now, and I keep saying this to people because we have a lot of people that are just getting into Impact. Crazy Steve is legally blind, but yet he's able to come out and be one of the best wrestlers out there. So that's definitely a high point for me. The post-show brawl, the post-match brawl after the main event was just insane, but good stuff. The attack backstage and everything, because again, it helps build things together to a crescendo for Hard to Kill. So again, no problem there. None. Look, fam, we got to talk.
What was a good bit again? Was it Eric Young, you said?
No. The post-match attack backstage after the main event. That was my other good thing. But fam, we got to talk. Look, Asian Karen is not going to work long term.
I knew it. I fucking knew it. That's why I put it in, because I knew you were going to call that was bad. God damn it.
My man. Champ, you're my brother, and I love you.
Here you go.
But I cannot be down with this woman. I can't. You know, I said it last week. I'll say it again. She joins Bailey on the bench. She is no longer into business.
Oh my
Just
God.
sad, my homie.
He hates Asian Karen. He hates her.
You know, I feel sorry for Rich Swann. Rich Swann has to go home to bed every night. I mean, come on, Rich. Come on, dude. This was a downgrade, homie. Oh, my God.
Wow. You are wild. Give me your 5 bits, crying. You're wild. Your 5 bits, please.
All right, my 5 bits. The X Division match where you had tag team wrestling this week. You had Chris Baber, Heat Raju versus Suicide Manic. That's number one. The promo with Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steelz backstage. Important shit there.
Okay.
Moose versus Matthew Palmer. I think I know where you're going with that.
Right.
The promo from Don Callis, Kenny Omega, and the Good Brothers, that was a segue to Tony Khan and Tony Schiavone.
Mm-hmm.
And that fucking madman, Sammy Callahan's promo. Holy fuck.
Well, straight
Those
away,
are your
Sammy's
five.
straight away, Sammy's promo. I mean, this dude right here is one of the best talkers in the game right now that a lot of people are not talking about. I'm just gonna be straight up honest with you. He is definitely one of the best out there on the stick, and that's without question. And he's also, keeping it real, he is definitely the top heel in the business altogether. Even over MJF, and MJF, I mean, he's a dick, but Sammy Callahan shitted on the way out. What kind of, like, how, you know how much of a fucking dick you gotta be to do some shit like that when it was that emotional to just shit on things like that? Like, come on. So anyway, that's number one straight away. Number two, I have to say the X Division tag match, because it was a great showcase of the three men that are going to vie for the X Division championship, as well as, getting Suicide in the mix there as well. Just everything about that was just really, 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 really great, and I enjoyed that very well. So yeah, my bad bit. So I have to say my bad bit. I can't even say Moose was a bad bit, because that was supposed to be expected. Because you're building Moose up to be this unstoppable monster after he dealt with fucking EC3. Like, you would expect him to absolutely squash this dude. So that wasn't a bad bit. I hate to say it, I think the bad bit was that contract signing for the titles, the knockout tag titles, only because Kiera Hogan and Todd Steels continue to perpetuate that stereotype that women of color are just loud, obnoxious women that talk a lot. Whereas you got Havoc and Nevaeh, who are just like evil women who they want to follow them and say they're gonna shut up. I just that, and that's being reluctant, because it sent a clear message that Tasha and Hogan are Tasha and Kiera are like overconfident, while Havoc and Nevaeh are calmly confident. So I get that, but it's just that would be the only bad bit I could think of. So
Yeah. As much as I enjoy Tasha Hogan and Kiera, Tasha Steelz, Kiera Hogan in the ring, I do not like the stereotype that they're portrayed where it comes to promo work. It's very trashy, to say the least.
it's cringeworthy to me. It's really cringe. It's really, really cringe.
Champ, I'm going to say something here. It sends a lot of bad racial overtones to it, and it's really disheartening, because deep down, you're pushing two women that are highly intelligent, and you're forcing them on screen to portray something that it's just a horrible thing to put on screen. It's really sad.
Yeah. Well, let's move on to Dark. But again, Impact continued a solid show. The fact that I had to use a promo that wasn't even a bad promo as the bad bit out of the 5 that was given to me just tells you how strongly that show was being put together, especially with it being a go home show going into their first official pay-per-view of the year, because Genesis was just their network exclusive and their streaming service exclusive, and not their pay-per-view proper. But this is their first pay-per-view proper of the new year, and so there you go. Dark. Let's talk about Dark again. Dark had a bunch of matches and things of that nature. It's always fun to watch Dark, because you get to see a lot of guys that you get to see a lot of wrestlers that have a good indie following and things like that. Like a few months ago, a guy who's a big indie guy here in the DC metropolitan area, Mr. Grimm, made his debut on AEW. Yes, it was a bit of a squash match against Wardlow, but he got the chance to be on the national stage. So there you go. So Sith, what were your 5 bits for Dark this week?
Okay, your 10-man tag match. Dark Order versus Sean Dean, Zach Clayton, Danny Limelight, Adam Priest, and Very Morales. Spinning the wheel again here. Serenity versus Tesha Price.
Okay.
Varsity Blondes versus Shotty Lee Johnson and Aaron Solo.
Okay.
Baron Black and Nick Camarado versus Bear Country.
Okay.
And I want to know Tay Conti versus Marty Daniels.
Okay. Off the top, the 10-man for the Dark Order is number 1. Good. Really good. Just all of them, and the way they were working together, just absolutely amazing to see. It's clear that Colt has bought into the Dark Order. Clearly, he's bought it. And I like the story that Evil Uno gave on Twitch streams of Colt's number in the Dark Order. He's number 8 because the 2 O's in his boom boom. You take the 2 O's, you put them together, it makes 8. So he's 8 of the Dark Order. You heard of me, Evil Uno. There you go. That's straight, and that's direct from Evil Uno. I did not make that shit up. That's directly from Evil Uno. But I did like that tag. What were the other 4?
Tay Conti, Marty Daniels.
Right.
You had Varsity Blondes versus Shotty Lee and Aaron Solo. Right. Serenity, Tesha Price.
Right.
And Baron Black and Nick versus Bear Country.
Camarado.
Yeah, Camarado.
Serena Deeb's match was definitely number 2 on the list because again, Serena Deeb is just such a talented professional wrestler. She's representing the NWA Women's Championship so well. Just a big fan of her work, and I was a big fan of hers when she was a part of the Straight Edge Society back early on in the 2000s, in the late 2000s and stuff like that. So really, really impressed with her work, and just the thing. It's the funny part is that she had retired. She had retired for a bit, and then became a trainer before she actually got back into professional wrestling proper, and now she's a champion. So that's my good bit. My second good bit. My bad bit. My bad bit has got to be Tay Conti's match. It just didn't seem all put together well. It looks like they pressed a little bit, and plus it was really, really short. So the fact that they were trying to get too many spots in a short match, and it just wasn't working. And so that was bad. I won't say trash. It just wasn't good. It just wasn't good. And I really like Conti, and I like that she's trying to prove to WWE that motherfucker y'all should put me on when I was on NXT. So there you go. Now here are my 5 for you. Number 1, the Dark Order with a 3-0 sweep on the night. Team Taz with a 2-0 split sweep of the night. Bear Country getting their first victory in AEW. Chaos Project being the main event, albeit against Top Flight. And all 4 women's matches on the card, including Anna Jay's match on the card. What are your 2 good and what's your 1 bad?
Number 1, top good is Team Taz, 2-0 on the night. Okay. A lot of people are going to cry and call me a mark for it, but I recognize talent where talent is. We've been on the Ricky Starks bandwagon for God knows how long. We were for Powerhouse Will Hobbs back when he was just a developmental talent on Dark during the early days of COVID. And it's just great to see those 2 guys really come into their own. So that's my number one. My number two,
Mm-hmm.
I know what you're thinking, champ. I know what you're thinking, my homie. Dark Order. No. Bear Country getting their first W. It wasn't a great.
No. Hold on. God damn it.
What?
I put that bit down just to see you pick it, and you didn't pick it. What the fuck? Go ahead. Why Bear Country?
Okay, look. I am a Dark Order mark. Everyone knows this. But I like it when new talent that's new to me gets that first elusive W. Okay? It reminds me a lot of when back in the mid 90s, when Barry Horowitz finally got that first elusive W, or in AEW to bring it back to current day, when Brandon Cutler and Peter Avalon finally got their first elusive W's after all those losses. So that's why, it's good to see people come up.
Fair enough.
But get the trash button for me, though.
Okay, what's the bad bit?
Chaos Project in the main event? Are you fucking kidding me? Really?
I knew it. I knew he was gonna go to that one.
Fucking God. They're gonna be on Dynamite this week. What the fuck? They're gonna be on Dynamite. Why? I love Serpentico. I really do. I respect Luther. But those two had no business at all being in the main event. No. Trash. Oh my God.
Yeah. Oh, but excuse me.
God bless.
Thank you. But to be fair, when you look at the lineup, I mean, unfortunately, that's as much marquee matchup as you're gonna get. It's Top Flight, who are officially signed, and Project, who are officially signed. I mean, unfortunately that was the best they could do. But I agree of them being the main event, especially against Top Flight, because Top Flight look like they're going to be a top tag team in AEW forward. But no, I just didn't like that. I didn't like that movie. That's why I mentioned it. I said no, I hate that. But so yeah. So for Seth, he says it's the team task sweep, and Bear Country in their first win, and the Chaos Project in the main event is a no. All right. Well, let's move on to Dynamite. Dynamite. It was night 2 of New Year's Smash. Remember, the New Year's Smash 2-night event had to be pushed back due to the Brody Lee Celebration of Life event that took place in late December before the New Year, which was really, really good. If you haven't seen it, I saved it. I saved it on my DVR, and I swear to God, if we get some race, somebody's going to feel the pain. For real, I'm saving that. That's got to stay in the DVR until I decide to delete that son of a bitch. But anyway, so let's talk about Dynamite. We got 5 bits here for Dynamite, and of course, Sith has his 5 bits. I'm going to start with my 5 bits for you, Sith, and we're going to start with first the NWA Women's Title match between Ty Conti and Serena Deeb. The opening match with Pac versus the Bastard Pac versus Ed Kingston. Chuck T becoming Miro's young boy / butler. Finding that there are 3 tag teams in the inner circle, and they're going to face off in a triple threat match the next week. And the 5th is Kenny Omega taking the piss out of all of us by saying the Elite aren't the Young Bucks. What are your 5 good bits? Is it Kenny taking the piss out of us with the bait and switch? Is it the women's title match, NWA women's title match? Is it Pac Kingston opener? Is it Chucky T becoming Miro's young boy? Or is it the 3 tag teams in the inner circle?
My first favorite part of the week, where it comes to Dynamite, my first top pick, Eddie Kingston versus the Bastard Pac.
Yeah. Very good.
Man,
Very good.
that match was lit. And you know, I like to do a little foreshadowing here from time to time. I'm going to do that here. Champ, did you pay attention to what was going on with Lance Archer after the match?
Yeah, I
Okay,
did actually.
I think I've got this figured out, homie. Bear with me.
Okay.
We're going to have the Lucha Bros,
Okay.
Lance Archer, and Pac team up versus Butcher, Blade Bunny, Eddie Kingston. But once that's over, Lance Archer versus Pac is going to be wild. It's going to be wild.
Okay.
I guarantee it. Ooh, going to be good shit. Man, the 3 tag teams within the inner circle. Champ, I need the Kahili laugh for a minute, please.
The quiet.
Yeah, the laugh.
You got it. Why? What do you got to say about that? 3 teams in the circle. What do you got
Sammy
to say?
Hagar. And Sammy's looking
Only
like,
people who grew up in the 80s, only people who grew up and were adults in the 80s would get that reference. No one else got that fucking reference. Only reason why I got that reference is because I heard of them.
Sammy gets it. I know he gets it deep down, but the way he played it off on camera was just gold to me, because he was acting like your typical millennial, basically, young adult, if you will, that, as Champ said, isn't well versed in what happened with Van Halen turning into Van Hagar and all that shit. But anyway, I like the idea of having a triple threat tag team match next week to see who is the number 1 tag team in the inner circle. I like that.
Yeah. Okay. Kind of hard to find a bad bit here, dude.
I gotta find a bad bit, and it's hard to do because the bits that you picked are all good. But I'd have to say and this is a reach, Chuck Taylor becoming Miro's, oh God. That's just wild. And it wasn't bad. It's a lot like where Champ had to pick the worst out of Impact. Impact was solid. So was Dynamite for the most part for me. So when Champ gave me those 5, I'm like, there's not a bad bit. So instead of it's the bit of the 5 that I liked the least, even though I enjoyed the bit. So there you go.
All right. 5 bits for me.
All right, your 5 bits. The waiting room.
My 5.
Oh, I need to hear you shoot on that.
Okay.
Dark Order. Their little thing backstage with Hangman Adam Page.
Okay.
Eddie Kingston versus Pac. Jungle Boy and Marco Stunt versus FTR. And our main event of the evening, The Machine, Brian Cage versus Darby Allin.
Okay, my 2 are going to be the main event, the TNT title match, because it was the classic David versus Goliath. But you had to know that Darby was going to win that one, and that Sting was going to be involved. So, of course, that's the result you expect, and that's the result that we wanted. So that's number 1. Number 2 has to be Pac versus Eddie Kingston. That was built for a long time, and it came to a head, and it didn't disappoint at all. Bad bit, yeah, it was the waiting room, but it was the waiting room because it wasn't anything that Britt did or Rebel or even Cody. Fucking Jade Cargill, the way she delivers her promos are absolutely atrocious. They are so fucking bad. Her delivery is horrible. I just can't. The moment she started talking, my head started to hurt. I'm like, bitch, shut up. Stop. Her delivery is so trash. I just can't do it. That's why the waiting room is the bad bit for me from those 5, because of Jade Cargill and the fact that, but everything else that was good. The way they had the little sparklers for Cody so he can have his little entrance with sparklers, and then Britt taking the piss out of Cody and stuff like that. All of that was just absolutely just hilarious, dude. But other than that, that was Jay Cargill fucked that segment up.
Jay's got to work on her
Fucked it
promo
up for me.
bad. That was.
She's got to work on her delivery. She's got to work on delivery.
That delivery.
I mean, she's got the words. She's got the words, but the delivery is just not good at all. Just the way she delivers, it's not good at all.
Yeah.
But let's move on.
In time, it'll
talk
work
about
out.
NXT.
NXT.
Yeah. NXT is next. NXT, it was highlighted by the start of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Classic tournament. The tournament where it's a single elimination bracket format. Win and you move on, lose and you're out. And we had 3 first round matches there, as well as some other matches sprinkled in there as well. So Sith, go ahead with your 5 bits for me.
Okay. Please. Your 5 bits are as follows. Jake Atlas and Isaiah Swerve Scott versus MSK.
Okay.
The promo between Timothy Thatcher and Tommaso Ciampa.
Okay.
Johnny Gargano versus Dexter Lumis.
Okay.
Finn Balor doing his promo that turned into absolute bedlam.
Okay.
And Candice LeRae versus Shotzi Blackheart.
Okay, the promo with Tommaso Ciampa and Thatcher straight away is number 1. Top good bit right there. Because you can feel the emotion and feel the anger between the two. And I like how Ciampa was trying to question, what was the injury? And Thatcher wasn't going to tell him shit. So I dig that whole thing. So that's number 1 top bit right there straight away. Number 2 would have to be MSK versus Atlas and Swerve Scott. Jesus Christ. That was awesome. And it's great to see them get them boys already hitting TV. The company, not even in the company about what, and they're already on TV in the Tag Classic, and they've already advanced. So I'm with that. I like that. Fuck, if I had to choose bad bit, I would have to say Gargano versus Lists. And not the match was bad, but the finish was just weird. The finish was weird as fuck to me. And because of that, I have to give that one a down, like Simon Miller would do. I would say give it a down. But the match wasn't bad, but just the finish just threw me off, turned me off. So those my 2 good ones. The promo with Chad and Thatcher, and then MSK versus Atlas and Scott, and then the down bit was definitely Gargano versus Lumis, but not because the match quality, except just the finish. All right, here are your 5 bits, Sid. The debut of the Rascals as MSK. All 3 Dusty Rhodes Classic Tournament first round matches. Xia Li's 2-strike victory. Like literally 2 strikes. She punched her, she kicked her, she won. The way going 2-0. Candice winning in the opener, Johnny Gargano winning later on, and finally, Pete Dunne stepping up to Finn Balor. So again, you're 5. The debut of the Rascals MSK, the 3 first round matches in the Dusty Classic, the Ways 2-0 night, and Xia Li's 2-strike victory, and Pete Dunne stepping up to Finn and saying he wants a shot.
The debut, my number 1, the debut of MSK, formerly the Rascals. Just amazing. Champ and I loved watching these guys in Impact. They were dynamic. They were awesome. So to see these guys these guys just left Impact, I'd say about 3 or 4 weeks ago. And now they're already on TV. It's just amazing. But anyway, that's my number 1. My number 2 is the 3 tag matches for the Dusty Rhodes Classic were all epic. They really were. The only slight issue I had, and this is a reach, was Everrise having the jobber entrance. That was the only issue. But other than that, the matches were just solid, period. The bad thing, Champ, you know I'm about squashes, homie. I love Xia Li. I love how they're presenting her, but 2 strikes and done. That's it. I mean, whoa. But I do like the mystery, though, between Xia Li, Boa, and whoever that mystery person is. And I had only one concern out of the whole night, and it's one that neither of us brought up. Well, you did with Wade going 2-0. But the landing from Candice LeRae when she was being thrown from the top turnbuckle, got to keep an eye on that, because if she were to fall in wrong, that would have been a broken neck. That was a little scary for me there for a second, because too many wrestlers have taken that fall and ended up with broken necks, but it was executed very well. She didn't get injured by it, so we're good.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, another solid outing for NXT. I actually particularly like the whole Xia Li 2-strike squash, because again, it's showing that she went that intense, like torturous training, and she came out stronger than she would have. So, yes, I get it, but I get where you're coming from with it as well. So I get it.
Yeah.
All right, Seth, it's your time in the program, my friend. It's that time. It's time for the NXT UK report from the basement. Please tell us what is to come in this report.
Walter challenged A-Kid for the NXT UK Championship, so we're going to find out what happened. Also, big time question here. Who and how are we going to find out who are the number 1 contenders to face Gallus for the NXT UK Tag Team Championships? We'll find out. And also, does Rampage Brown have another challenge lined up? Find out on the NXT UK report right here, right now. Hey, what's up, everyone, and welcome to your NXT UK report from the basement. This week, we had Ed Harvey versus Joe Coffey. Even though Josh Samuels ended up being Ed Harvey, the man is not a pushover. However, he fell to the best of bells as Joe Coffey got the W. Earlier this week, it was announced by Sid Scala that in 2 weeks we will have 3 W: Oliver Carter and Ashton Smith, The Hunt, and Mark Andrews with Morgan Webster in a 4-way elimination match to be the number 1 contenders for the NXT UK Tag Team Championship titles. Here we go. Also, earlier this week, Rampage Brown got a challenge from the Bomber Date Master. What's going to happen between these two? We'll soon see. Tyler Bate and Tim Gredrow had a strong style beast of a match. It was a crazy look back and forth. Bate wins with the Bate Driver. Ilya Dragunov has decided he wants to next fight Jack Stars. Jenny and Kaylee Ray had their face-off before their encounter next week for Kaylee Ray's NXT UK Women's Championship. Jenny saying it's time for a queen to become champion, and Kaylee Ray basically said, "Careful what you wish for." She's beaten all challengers. And in our main event this week, we had Walter challenging A-Kid for the NXT UK Championship in an exciting back-and-forth match that matched agility with strength and British strong style. Walter retains after strong effort from A-Kid with the lariat and retains the NXT UK Championship. No doubt, both men know well they were in a fight this week. And that is your NXT UK report for this week. Stay tuned to every We count the No Spots podcast at this time for NXT UK reports from the basement.
All right, back here with that report. Thank you, Seth. Just a quick correction, though. The gentleman's name, Ed Hardy, is not Josh Samuels. It is Sha Samuels, and I have some information about Sha Samuels. Sha Samuels is an 18-year vet in the independent scene in the United Kingdom. He's been doing this since 2004. He is a former two-time Insane Championship Wrestling Tag Team Champion with 2 different partners. He is a former IPW UK champion and former IPW UK tag champion. He is a former OTT tag team champion with, get this, one half of the Grizzled Young Veterans, Zach Gibson. A former tag champions together. Yes. And he also has spent time in the well-known UK standard, the biggest fed in the UK, Revolution Pro Wrestling, where he was a former Rev Pro British Heavyweight Champion, the same championship that Will Ospreay holds right now. And he is a former 4-time Rev Pro Undisputed British Tag Team Champion with 3 different partners. So this dude, like you said, is no pushover because he's very well decorated in his 18-year career before he made it to NXT at the age of 35. So that is some information on Ed Hardy, formerly known as Sha Samuels. You're welcome. But let's talk about NXT UK this week. You just mentioned on the report, Sha Samuels showed off against Joe Coffey, but Joe Coffey was just a better man. But it was still a great opening match. Loved the opening match there. Jenny ain't getting that fucking title. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. Jenny ain't getting that fucking title. Kaylee Ray, can I just say I love a Scottish accent? I really do. And Kaylee's got such a great Scottish accent. I love it. I love it. But most of the accents over there in the UK, in the United Kingdom, I like all of them. I mean, for real. It's like right now, Mariah May, who is an independent wrestler in the United Kingdom, is actually streaming on Twitch right now. I just told her I was going to jump on after I got done with this because she's really cool peeps. Play Among Us with her. She's really cool. Really. So, y'all follow Mariah May on Twitter and follow her on Twitch and on YouTube and all that other stuff. And this is not a paid advertisement. She's not paying me, but she's dope in real life. Anyway. But no, Jenny's not getting that title. Fuck that. Loving the fact that we're going to have a 4-way match. Elimination match, I believe it is, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Okay, 4-way elimination match to determine tag team, the number 1 contenders for Gallus' titles. Love it. Love that. You love to see it. Rampage Brown versus the Bomber Day Mastiff. Please and thank you. Please and thank you. Fucking hell. That's going to be just two big meaty men slapping meat. Period.
Yes.
That's what's going to be. There was another match on the card. Besides A-Kid and Walter. There was another match. Oh, Strong Boy. Tyler Bate. Yes. Tyler Bate. Beautiful victory over Sam Gradwell. Sam Gradwell is a mean son bitch, ain't he?
He is.
Mean son bitch, ain't he? Jesus Christ. Why are you so mad? Chill out, dude. Anyway. But no, A-Kid Walter was definitely, oh my God. What can we say about Walter that hasn't been said? There's a reason why they call this dude the ring general. But there's one thing I need him to chill out on. Them fucking chops you gotta relax with those chops, dude.
Champ.
If I'm sitting out on my patio smoking a cigar and you chop and I can feel it in my chest, that's the problem. That's a problem, fam. That's a problem.
We were discussing that because we both watched the first play of it, if you will, about the same time. And I messaged in the chat, I'm like, you done watching it? He's like, yeah. He's like, man, those chops. And I said, I thought that all the way here in the basement. I was like, damn.
Right. Yeah, no, he's got to relax. He's got to relax. But I have a feeling he's going to break Pete Dunne's record for longest reign as NXT United Kingdom champion. I think it's just a foregone conclusion. They really have anybody there that can really truly challenge him and be credible enough to beat him. So yeah, that's probably what it's looking like. I'm not
Yeah.
mad about it. I mean, he's been a pretty
I'm
good
not either.
champion. I mean, his reign has been kind of fucked by COVID, but
Yeah.
still, I mean,
You
his
know,
reign nonetheless.
I make that same argument for Kaylee Ray as well. Both of their reigns were completely fucked because of COVID. But again, I don't know of a woman right now, besides maybe Piper Niven, if they can build her back up, that could take that belt away. Because Jenny, are you kidding me? No.
Fuck Jenny. Fuck Jenny. Anyway, we're moving on. Smackdown. Smackity down. Yeah. Smackity down. So let's talk about this SmackDown. We had a couple good matches. We had some good promos. We had some good stuff here. But we picked 5. So I'm gonna start with my 5 here for you, Sith. And my 5 is, and this is a shock. Nakamura's face turn. He came out with his old music. So there you go. Scrap Daddy, what he used to be known, Adam Pearce, getting the one up on Mob Boss Roman. Oh shit. Who would have thought somebody got the one up on Mob Boss Roman? Daniel Bryan versus Cesaro, in what was a great technical wrestling match. Even Kurt Angle had great things to say about it on Twitter. Liv Morgan versus Natty, which had the interference of Billy Bloody Kay. And finally, the debut of the show known as Ding Dong Hello with California Karen Bailey. Those are your 5, Sith. What do you choose?
Okay. Numero uno. Adam Pearce getting the one up on mob boss Roman, Michael Corleone himself. Whoa. I wonder how this is going to translate to next week, because the way SmackDown has been written, overall, if you will, they have booked Roman like to be this huge monster heel. But when something goes wrong, the next time he gets a chance to act on it, there's going to be payback somehow, some way next week. And I want to see where this goes, because I like how they've built the story. Cesaro versus Daniel Bryan, my number 2. Wow. I love scientific technical wrestling, and Cesaro and Daniel Bryan just put on one of those matches that I could watch all day long. Because as much as in my top 5, a lot of those matches weren't scientific, they were a lot of brawling, if you will. I always go back to that amateur scientific feel, and that brought all of that back, and it felt good. The worst, oh my God. Champ, I need the what, please?
What are we wanting?
Natalya, first and foremost, getting a jobber entrance for that match.
Okay.
No. God help me. I can't. Because what? What? Okay. And Billy Kay as well being used the way she's being used is just a bystander. You're not going to be in the right squad. They don't want you there. You know, and the way that she was presented is a lot like a guy who shaves his head while trying to tell a little girl, hey, I'm punk. But deep down is a yacht rock, soft rock guy. Yeah. But the jobber intro was really bad. Just made no sense to me at all, unless Natalya is saying, book, give me this entrance. I'm willing to do this to build these girls up. Okay, I'm good. But for the most part, no. And Billy Kay was just totally ineffective to me. Hey, Karen, you didn't make my list tonight. Be grateful.
That's funny. Oh shit, that's funny.
But it is my turn to give you 5.
Go for it.
Apollo Crews possibly working with mob boss Roman.
Right.
That kind of caught my eye. Nakamura's face turn, just out of the blue, you know. Sonya Deville being the assistant to Adam Pearce.
Okay.
Cesaro Daniel Bryan.
Okay.
And Corbin Mysterio.
Right. Okay. So, you said DB Cesaro, right?
Yes, sir.
That's number one right there. Boom. Right there. That's number one. Absolutely banger of a matchup there. And I think number two, let's expound more on number one. Again, just those two you put those two together. I mean, it's just just so much chemistry there, and I just enjoyed the match, just like you do. I enjoy a good technical wrestling match as well. That's why I've always enjoyed. I've been enjoying New Japan for this last little bit of time because a lot of it's technical wrestling and stuff like that. So there you go. Number two is Nakamura's face turn. That surprised me. Uh, And so it was a happy surprise. I'm like, he's been kind of floundering as a heel for a while. Maybe now it's time to make that turn back to face, bring back the old music, though it's not going to be the same because you don't have crowds unless they're going to pipe in the, oh, are they going to pipe that in? If they are, that's going to I don't know how I'm going to feel about that. I'm just going to be completely honest. I don't know how I'm going to feel about that, really. The bad bit is Corbin versus Ray. Simply because Corbin, whatever. It is what it is. But that's my bad bit. Because everything else that you named were really good. That was the only thing that stood out to me. It's just like, ugh. All because, Corbin kept trying to eat egg on fucking Dominic. And, then in the back, Ray's talking about you got to learn to keep your emotions in check and not get drawn in and all this other stupid shit. And it's just like, all right, fam. Like, you went out there, you got beat down, you got squashed by Corbin, who still called himself a king, and he won the King of the Ring almost 2 years ago. For fuck's sake. So it's like, all right, fam, whatever. But yeah, that was my bad bit. So yeah, Shinsuke's face turn and Cesaro versus DB were my two good bits, but Ray versus Corbin was my bad bit. That's it. All right. Well, that's our show for the night, folks. That's all we got for you. We're coming up on 2 hours. Thanks, Sage, for talking for 30 minutes. But no, in all seriousness, no, I do appreciate Sage for taking the time out of his day to come in and to rap with us about New Japan and the upcoming tour and things like that. They got a lot going on coming up with the New Japan, with the New Beginning tour coming up, and then they got Castle Attack coming up right after New Beginning. Then they have the anniversary show, and then the New Japan Cup, which again we will cover that. We will have a New Japan Cup podcast series that we'll have. So make sure you tune into that, please. All right. So here we are, our final thoughts. Again, our final thoughts is usually either wrestling related or not wrestling related that we want to get off our chest, and then we will plug what we got coming up this week. Sith, I start with you as always, sir. What is your final thoughts and what's coming up in the basement this coming Sunday?
Okay. As Champ knows, the network knows, I'm a big guy where it comes to independent wrestling, independent businesses. With things starting to slowly reopen up, you need to start supporting more of your independent wrestlers and more of your small local businesses. Okay? Hear me out for a second, folks. Small business is what builds your local economy up, provides jobs, the whole gambit. Okay? And with people going back to work, people going back to school, independent wrestling kind of starting to sprout up a little bit. Really important to support independent wrestlers and small businesses. And also pay attention to what these wrestlers do on streams and whatnot, because that means a lot as well.
Right. And what you got coming up for the basement?
Oh, a series coming up in the basement that I told Champ about, as well as the network. For the next 5 weeks, the Sith Essentials, my 100 most essential songs to have in your library that runs the gamut. Also have some Q&A because someone asked me how I felt about the season finale of The Mandalorian. And I've got a major rant and also a new addition to the show as well. All that in the basement this week.
All right, my final thought is going to be something that's going to come to a shock to you, Sith, as well as other people listening that have not been talking to me recently. So I have a Thursday. There's a reason why I had to have a test on Thursday. Son and his mom have COVID. Yeah, you heard me right. My 7-year-old son and his mother somehow contracted COVID-19, and I was in contact with my son when I picked him up from his grandparents to bring him back to his mom. And he threw up in my car, and I had to clean him up. So I'm very close contact with my son. So I had to go and get a test just to make sure I didn't catch it. Guess what? I didn't catch it. So I didn't catch it. My test came this morning, and it said negative. So I'm clear. No COVID over here. But please say a prayer because Jess, his mother, Junior's mother, is 2-time cancer survivor. So far, her symptoms have been severe, but not to the point of having to be hospitalized. She's been able to stay home and care for Junior, and Junior's symptoms have been mild. And so it's funny because I thought that when my friend AJ passed away from COVID, that it hit him. But COVID decided, nah, we did close enough, nigga. So it decided to hit my partner and my son, right? And if it didn't get any worse, guess what? My younger brother has COVID too. Like, what the fuck? And he caught it doing his job as law enforcement, being down there when those terrorist traitors stormed the fucking Capitol. He caught him there. The fucking Trump supporters, dude. Listen, I've said it so many times on this podcast since this pandemic started. Dude. I said it so many times. Just wear a mask when you go out in public. Wear a fucking mask. Stay 6 feet from people. Wash your hands. If you can't wear a mask, if you're gonna have anxiety attacks wearing a mask or something like that, Instacart, baby, Instacart. I love Instacart. I love it. It's the best thing in the world. Matter of fact, I even got the Instacart subscription, Instacart Plus. So I get free delivery on orders over $35. I get free delivery. I love it. It's the greatest thing. I don't have to leave the house if I don't want to. Unless I only need like maybe 1 or 2 things, in which I will leave the house. But guess what? I got my trusty Washington football team mask. Got that right there. And I'm on my way. Period. Guys, this pandemic has been going on almost a year now. And the numbers are not going down. They're only going up because there are people out there that just will not stay still and do what needs to be done to curb the spread. All you gotta do is put on a face covering when you go into a store. All you gotta do is face covering. Keep washing your hands. You wash your hands for 20, 30 seconds, they said. That's all you gotta do. It's not that hard. It's not that hard. It's not. The fact that a bunch came to my city and infected my brother because they were so losers. They're mad because their person lost. And now who grew up now has COVID-19. I feel like he'll survive because he's a fucking workout fiend. Like he's fucking jacked. So he's in great shape. So he'll be fine. But I worry about Jess and I worry about Junior because of the fact that they're not as physically fit as my brother. So my final thought is please be kind to each other and let's try to end this fucking virus, dude. I want to be able to go places and be with my friends again. It's lonely. It is. Anyway, that's all we got. That's all I got for that. This Monday, I'll be on Sports on the Hill for a very abbreviated Wiz Roundtable because the Wizards haven't played any fucking games this week. All four games that they had scheduled this week were all postponed because of a COVID outbreak that has hit the Wizards team. 6 players have tested for the virus, while others were isolated due to contact tracing. So there have been no games played. So we're not going to have much to talk about in this week's episode because there's been no games played. We've had nothing. Nothing's been played. But I'll still be making an appearance. And there you go. And then I will also be making an appearance to talk about the NFL playoffs. Of course, whatever the results are for this week, we'll be talking about, of course, conference championships. That'll be taking place the following week and all that good stuff for us. And then, of course, for those watching right now on the live stream, yes, I will be streaming live on Facebook and YouTube for the final time with live reactions for Hard to Kill before we go to Twitch proper and start doing our live stream there exclusively. So make sure you tune in tonight for that one, and make sure you follow our Twitch channel at twitch.tv/True No Spots Pod to be able to watch our watch-alongs and see those, and it should be fun. Maybe if we get enough followers and get enough viewers, maybe we can become an affiliate, start actually getting paid subscriptions and bits donated and all that good shit. That would be cool. But, just a new avenue to try for this. So join us on that one, right? And then, of course, Saturday for the podcast, we will, of course, be recapping this event that we're having, which is good old Hard to Kill. We will recap what's happening this week coming up as they are on the road to Royal Rumble, which is coming up on the 31st. And we will have our segue topic after news and notes in our New Japan recap. So just stay tuned for that. But for the Sith, the Easy People's Champ, we thank you for joining us, and we will see you next week. Take
Peace
care.
out.